landmines and jellyfish, welcome back to Knives, I guess, and Harry Styles calls his Halloween party Harryween, and I'm not one to suffer alone, so you needed to know that too. And what we're doing here today is taking a look at this group of knives as a whole, these super budget knives, because while I was getting my thoughts together for the wedge and the next knife and the showdown, something occurred to me. These things are kind of mind-blowing for the price. And I know what you're thinking, but I'm going to go in a different direction here. If you go to back in my day when a quarter cost a nickel and that was a style at the time, things were in the $10 to $15 price range, pure garbage. I looked at an inflation calculator, and that $15 today, back in around 96 to 98, would be anywhere from $30 to $36. So kind of let that sink in. These things back then would cost double what they cost now. And, you know, for that money, you would get either a cheap Buck 110 knockoff with hard plastic scales that broke. I've gotten them with double-sided tape holding the scales down. You know, you can find stuff like this that was unbranded. And again, you got your 420, 440 series steel. And just not great. They function as knives. I'll give them that. But, you know, not necessarily ideal, especially for today's standards. And, you know, I have better knives from back then. I have one from 98 that is a 440 stainless, and that thing holds an edge a lot better because it's better heat treated. But I believe that was a $35 to $40 knife. So if you translate that to today's money, you're looking at around $70, $75 for something that would not hold up to anything in that price range today. It does have a liner lock. Some of the technology is caught up there, but still nowhere close to what we got today. And it has no pocket clip, you know, and your other option would be getting something that looked like this, but no flipper tab, no assisted open, a nail nick, no pocket clip, and these scales would be like a hard plastic that broke when an ant farted on it. Screws would be falling out, pivot screw giving out. I've had them and I have dealt with it, which is why I don't have any here to show you. They all fell apart. And, you know, that again, that 420, 440 series steel on those would be super soft. Like, here's an example of one, and this is a 420 series steel, but with a better heat treatment. This thing took 50 cuts through heavy double wall cardboard folded in half on purpose against the grain. It took a lot of abuse before it finally stopped shaving hair off the back of my hand. It still cuts fine, still pretty dang sharp, but it just stopped shaving after 50 cuts. Those same knives from back then would take about 5 or 10 cuts, and they'd go from factory dull to stupid dull, you know. You couldn't get something that could, you know, even come close to comparing to this one. You know, it would still be a lock back. You might get a liner lock. It wouldn't be an axis lock. You probably wouldn't get a pocket clip, or if you did, it'd be tipped down. It wouldn't be on bearings. It'd be on washers. And again, that would be like $50 and up, which in today's money would be pushing like $100. So, you know, these things are an amazing value, and we were paying more than double for way less knife back then. And, you know, if you just got into the knife game within the last few years, you wouldn't have seen or experienced that. But if you've been around for a while and you've been buying knives for a while, I think you got a pretty good idea what I'm talking about. You know, if you've got some experience there, drop something in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on it. You know, if you haven't experienced this before, of course, let me know what you've been finding back when you first started. And, you know, if you've been around a while, you may know something I don't from back then, and you may have found better knives than I did. But I just kind of wanted to share my thoughts on this because it's been sticking with me for the last couple of days. And I think it's really cool that things have come along this far. You know, making these things in huge batches, doing the heat treatment in massive batches. All this stuff is really caught up. So, you know, and again, for that same money, you can get 8 CR13, which is significantly better than 420. I got one for $13 that had 9 CR18, which is, you know, significantly better than 420. I know these distinctions are a little bit but like 3 CR to 7 CR is comparable to 420, but it tends to hold an edge better and, you know, hold an edge a lot longer through abuse. You know, some of these guys have seen 30, 40, 50 cuts through that cardboard. They still shave. They still push cut paper. They're still ridiculously sharp on their factory edge. And you could not get that back then for that price. You know, you couldn't get that back then for double the price. So, yeah, I found this really interesting. I hope you found it interesting too. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you. Thank you to the new subscribers. Thank you to the guys that are commenting, because that makes it more entertaining for me to be doing these. I like the feedback. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subs so we can start doing giveaways and other fun stuff. But with that, thank you so much. Y'all have a nice day.